welcome to Apex Esports League. I'm JT. Tonight we have Project Cars 2 for PlayStation, and it is round one of the Pagnian Imports RS01 trophy. Tonight's round we're heading to Autodromo Internazionale Enzo e Dino Ferrari Imola. So a big mouthful of a track name there. Tonight for the opening round we will be having a 2-race session. So we're heading off into 15 minutes of practice. Weather is light cloud, then we've got 15 minutes of qualifying. Weather is light cloud, and the sprint race is 10 laps, and the weather is also light cloud. There's no mandatory pit. And then we'll have about a 9-minute break and then head into session 2. And then we'll have 15-minute qualifying. Weather will be clear, and the main race is 21 laps. Weather is clear to medium cloud with a mandatory pit. And then for this series, we have sponsors of Pagnian Advanced Simulations, that's Pagnian Imports, and Next Level Racing, and they actually are providing a fantastic prize for our drivers. The Next Level Racing wheel stand light will actually be up for grabs to the winner of this championship, so pretty exciting stuff. So over to the track screen. And at Imola, track length is 4.9 kilometres, it's 17 turns. It's a good, fast, technical track, and I know from the guys already doing practice in the last few weeks in preparation for the series, they're doing some very quick lap times, and there's a lot of drivers getting some very consistent and similar lap times, so it's going to be pretty fierce, intense racing. So it's going to be a great series to see. So heading over to pit lane just now. If you are just joining us for the stream, you haven't hit that follow button yet, be sure to hit it so you can be notified when we go live. We're doing Project Cars 2 on Thursday night, 7:30 PM. We also do iRacing on Monday nights, same time, 7:30 PM. We did just start round 1 for the Formula V Championship. And there's plenty of great action to see from there. And don't be shy, make yourself known in the chat, say hello. Okay, here's Imola, thanks for joining us. And we've got a debut tonight as well. We have Bad Nate 1973 joining us. I do believe he's actually streaming from his point of view as well. Look up his Twitch Bad Nate, you'll probably be able to see how he goes from his race from that point of view. May even be track days, I know, especially jumping on and supporting a fellow friend and driver that's in our iRacing series. So we wish Nate all the best luck tonight. And some good racing when we had our couple of casual nights over the last 2 Thursdays. So we did have the 2-week break from our broadcasting and races. We did all get up and do some casual races and have lots of fun. We did a bit of testing for some future series as well. We have Demon FX, he hasn't been able to make it for a little while. He's been occupied on his Thursday night, so he's able to get in for some races. So welcome back, Demon. Skitty, so we'll make ourselves familiar with all the car liveries. Oh, Skitty having a little bit of issues with that car. Those tyres would have been a little bit cool. Track Days, thanks for joining us. When you do join as well, if you look underneath the stream, there will be some sound controls. You can actually play a variety of sound effects over the stream. Where you can cheer on and applaud for your favourite drivers, have some fun with the effects and make the stream your own. That's good. We're seeing a full grid. Drivers are pretty excited to be getting the support from Pagnian Advanced Simulation and Next Level Racing for trying to help our community and also offer some great prizes. Recently have a great prize with our iRacing. We had the Logitech G series, and there was a mouse up for grabs. So our console drivers missing out on that opportunity, so fantastic opportunity for them for this series. And then going forward as well with the partnership with Pagnian Imports and Next Level Racing. First time's coming through on the board. Nike mark 15.12, spinning a 149. I did jump in on, want to do some laps of a few of the guys last night and saw some 138s being set, and that was even in race pace as well. It's going to be pretty interesting to see how they go tonight. We have T-Rex in a car number 39. Philly's just come through for 140.8. We have Philly and Wera both in the Vazmac livery for the car. If you've been watching our streams for quite some time, these guys have been going with the Vazmac livery, picking it out amongst all the different classes of car. And even in our Group A touring cars, ending up having their team name as Vazmac Boys. We did actually have two teams, so you can see that's the little in thing with our group, so good luck to the Vazmac guys again. Sets of 143.1. A little bit of spacing going on in between the times for the opening laps. A little bit slippery as he comes up through the hill. It is quite a tricky chicane. Coming down from a fair bit of speed. And then it does start to get a little bit slippery, especially when it's quite cool track temperatures. Game session time started at 9 AM. Gallon 350 come through for 142. T-Rex setting a 142.036. A bit of congestion going down on that back straight. We have Sami, purple car number 25. 141.7 for his first time. That is a very quick time. Look at DK coming through for 139.2. Try and make my way through the rest of the list so we can see what everyone is driving. So we have Simo Simsel. A bit off pace at the moment. Still at 220. Kai Warrior managed to make a debut a couple of races about a series ago. It was joined about midway through the Group A's. Managed to make a couple of races. Did suffer a few disconnects and a couple of bouts of bad luck as well. Hopefully gets a bit more luck tonight. Focus as we just close in on Dirty Monkey. So car number 11. There's just under 8 minutes left of the practice. A little lag showing for Dirty. We have Balaki back with us. Have him in the Group A Tours. I think we may have missed him for the V8s, I can't remember. But he's doing some fantastic pace into some of the practice lobbies with the guys. With Balaki driving, and also when we were doing the casual nights, and he's done some fantastic pace. He's going to be a real strong contender in the series. So wish him a lot of luck. Be able to give these older guys a good run for their money. So I think he's pretty keen to get himself that Next Level Racing wheel stand light. Runs a little bit wide. Was a a little bit of a lag skip just before, so I'm not sure if he did actually run off track or not. Covered mid-cliff. I think he's doing this from a controller as well, and he's been laying down some very quick times. I think he was, I saw him set at 1:39, 1:38, I think last night when we were doing some laps. They're already opening up with a 1:40 near flat to start off with. It's going to be very good. He's had some great pace for a good while. He's usually run into a bit of bad luck. Sometimes caught in a bit of an incident. And costing him race positions. We've seen him start to finish up on the podium. So if there's a good chance of winning a championship, this will definitely be it. He's been doing some fantastic driving. He's bringing that car back into the pits. Mark doing well with a 1:40.062. He's only just a smidgen off from Mick's time. He's got Mick setting a 1:40.061. There's not much difference between the two. Mark doesn't have to shave much off to be able to bump himself up a spot on the board. Track temperatures will start to increase as we get into the qualifying session. Game session time will then be 10 AM. Weather will still be light cloud cover. It's out on track currently. We'll jump on board for a lap. I have just started a few laps to try and get someone who's maybe jump over to Philly shortly as he crosses the line. If he doesn't bring the car in, usually when we jump on board, it'll usually either bin them or they head back into the pits. And then I've been mentioning for a little while that I'll be organising a prize for our viewers. So I'm actually doing that for this series. I will be having an Apex eSports League stubby holder up for grabs for our viewers. So all you got to do to get an entry into it, we'll jump on board for a lap now. If you want a stubby cooler sent out to you, what you got to do is head to our Facebook page, find the post that's gone up saying that we are live with round 1, and then share that with who you think is going to end up leading the championship coming out of round 1, and then if you are correct, you'll be in the running for a draw to get that stubby cooler. And then heading off into the back section of the track here. So it's good fast sector 1. He's taking that throttle nice and easy. It's a bit of a tricky corner here that will usually incur a slowdown. You can take that corner pretty quick, very quick down to this section. This is where we saw drivers getting a little bit slippery. These curves can really flick these cars around, and once they start to get a little bit of a wobble to them, they will actually snap and turn around quite quickly. And the chicane there gets really slippery. You can get the car up on the two wheels very easy by turning in too sharp and hitting that curb, but actually roll the car up onto the right side tyres. Anyway, thanks for joining us. And a nice quick base through the last couple of corners. And the good thing with the RSO1s is the 7th gear, so they get a good amount of speed out of these cars. And there we are on a lap around Imola with Philly. Look at those times coming through. We have DK with a 1:38.380. And then Sami with a 1:38.681. And then next time is Mick's 1:40 near flat, and same with Mark. There's some pretty consistent pace, and then we've got, I think, five drivers in the 1:40 mark. And another 4 drivers in the 141s. Then we're seeing a 143, a 144, a 46 and a 47. And we have Kakadu. We can just see a little bit of his car. He's actually away from his console at the moment. He should be back in time to qualify and get into the race. Even the car does look good like that, how they light up under braking. Pretty fancy cars. See how Mark's been going with his laps. His last lap was 155. Fastest is that 140.062. He doesn't need to improve much to make him just a little bit quicker than Mick Cliff. We've got Demon in with a 140.880. I do believe when we were first trialling these cars out in the casuals, I think the fastest time set in the time trials for this was a 1:39. We did actually have Gallon go in and wipe out that time with a 1:38 in the time attacks. Gallon have a little bit of issues at the moment with the car, and there's practice complete. It's a minute 30, sorry, 130 seconds. Until the session ends, they can get these last laps completed. And we'll be heading over into 15 minutes of qualifying. That's pretty important, as drivers will also receive points for qualifying position. It's going to be pretty important with just how tight these times are. So far there's only 7 seconds separating 15 cars. Over the course of 10 laps, that's not going to be a whole lot of gap. Ooh, Simo having a little bit of issue with the car. It's still a little bit slippery. So he's going to have a bit of fun and do a burnout for us in these last moments. Thanks, Simo. Demon just wrapped up a lap there. That's now AI taking over. Not sure if that is for Black. He may have just got across the line before. I don't think so. It could potentially be an AI driving for him. There we go. All drivers finish for the practice. So we have DK Rush in with a 1:38.3 as the quickest time for the practice session, and not too far off, only 0.301 is Sami's time, but also getting into that 1:38 mark. So they head over into the qualifying. Too many drivers scrambling out on the track straight away. You can hear them popping out a few setups. Every time you hear the engine spool up, Will's being in the pits. Ooh, bad Nate's got a little bit of lag glitch showing then. I think that's just because someone just disconnected. So he's had Lakai disconnect and the lag spike. Kakadu still not back yet. Alright, as he gets back, he's able to hit the ready button for heading into the race. He won't get disqualified. DK is in the chat as well. I accidentally left, that's alright. He'll be jumping back in momentarily. Track temperatures will have warmed up a bit now. We should see about, I think, 23 degrees by the time we get to the sprint race. There's that lag spike occur as we have a guy rejoin. And will we see DK take a pole time? We're setting a 1:38. That's a pretty good shot. He wasn't too far from that. That's pretty good to be seeing. Pretty much record-setting times being done from our drivers as well. Skinny a few issues. I think that's around turn 1. It is. Didn't take any damage, so he doesn't need to bring that car back in. Thanks, mate. So, as I was mentioning before, Bad Nate can jump on and see his stream. He's actually doing it from his point of view. Well, and that was DK, I think that just spun out. Bad Nate's Twitch is track days, so you can see his view from that, so be sure to check him out. Get out of focus as he plays into T-Rex. Someone ready for a start to a lap. Not sure if DK ended up taking damage. He did sit aside for a while. Doesn't look like he did make wall contact. First times. That at 1:38.7. Just been set by Philly. Holding back just for the qualifying session, comes straight in with an opening time of 1:38. And Blakey also in straight up with a 1:39.9. They aren't mucking around here. You could have potentially been seeing race setups being tested out in the practice session. So those times are probably going to be easily beaten in the qualifying session. Especially now that that track temperature's slightly increased as well. DK comes through for 1:39.075. In 1:41.593, I should say. Dirty Monkey, some issues, he runs wide. Hasn't taken any damage, so he should be fine, but he's bringing that car in still. Obviously not happy with how it's performing at the moment. There's probably a few setups being shared with the guys as well. And there's been a fair few setups shared around amongst all the drivers. It's good to see them all helping out, especially when they've got setups that are adding some very quick times, then still go and share them. It's a very nice thing for our drivers to do. They are a very supportive group of drivers. If you do want to get involved in Apex eSports League and join our community, you can see our social media link down below. We have our Facebook page, and then it has a link over to our Facebook group, which we post up all the events that are available. And there is also, if you're on Android, there's the Apex eSports League app you can download that will have links to all those and actually have our calendar for the events, and then let you know how to get involved in those. Be sure to check that out. We've had another disconnect, T-Rex disconnected. So we have a fair few cars in the 139s. DK, Gallon, Wera, Mick and Balaki all setting a 139. Saw a fair few cars in the 140 bracket. We're seeing about a 1 second difference in the qualifying session compared to practice. Set at 149.7. That's 18 seconds separating the grid so far. Gallon's just come through with pole setting time, 138.5. Slides out, he's really pushing that car. He's going to move quickly out of the road. That was Sami that just went flying past. And Kakadu is back, he's now out on track. A few lag spikes going on as well. Disconnect. Bring up and see if we can. See if Kakadu is trying to get back in. Sorry, not Kakadu, T-Rex. Oh, there's a bit of chaos going on around turn 1. That was quite a big hit. There's not much difference between the pole time. It's only 0.108 difference from Gallon and Philly's time. Sami's also in the 138s. Having DK and Sami only drivers to set a 138 in the practice. We've now got 3. DK was the quickest in the practice. Not able to better his time at this stage. He's got 5 minutes remaining to be able to steal that pole position away. Pretty sure he'll be able to get that if he just sets that same golden lap that he did in practice. That will take the pole position for sure. Which might have been Makai's car that we saw spin before rather than DK's. So similar car, season car number 42, have we got DK, I think 41 and 43. Oh, there's the lag spike, T-Rex has made it back in just in time. I think usually around the 2 to 3 minute remaining mark, you won't actually be able to get in and make the race start. Well, it does lock them out at that stage, so it's unfortunate when that happens to our drivers in those last few moments of qualifying. We didn't get to see times set for Kakadu being there for the practice session. He's set a 142.6. It's currently 11 seconds separating 15 cars. jump on board with Sami for a hot lap. These who just joined us for the session and did miss the hot lap in the practice. Down through turn 1. Onto the anchors out far. Let's get that nice late turn in. Be careful of that inside curb for that corner. We'll actually slide that car out pretty quickly and throw this car curb to curb through the chicanes. It's a very quick section of track. That's where a lot of drivers will be able to make up time. It's quite a tricky spot to try and nail. If you can get that, you're going to cover at least a good second on your lap time. This is where we've seen a few drivers spin out. So you can take this fairly quickly, but hitting that curb, it's a little bit off camber and a crest will actually throw that car across and he will lose that traction. He can go fairly wide here, or he's just too wide coming up the chicane. Very tricky chicane. Mindful of those curbs. You can't run out too wide. You can see a fair bit of rubber laid down that goes out onto that green section of the tarmac, but you will actually be penalised for a slowdown. The track is very strict. You can use a fair bit of curb here, and up there where you can see the runoff on that curb. And onto pit straight. See how quickly getting up to here. I think it's about 275. So it's 272. We're getting onto those brakes. The lap by Sami. That lap was a 1:39.9, so that was a very quick lap. Didn't better his time. We still have Gallen in pole position. So you didn't think you'd probably get pole. He's more confident in his race pace than setting the pole time. But he's definitely proved himself wrong. He's setting a 1:38.5. That's a very good time. It's been hard to beat. There's only 50 seconds remaining. DK not as quick as he was in the practice session. May not be possibly going for pole. It could be as well. He may be trying to avoid the cluster coming into the first corners. May think sitting back a little bit may have enough of a strategic position to get around. So there's not going to be too many points missed out by qualifying a few points back. So you only miss out, I think it's 3 points. Know that off by heart. It's only 2 points difference between pole and second. That's 25 points to 23 points. You're only going to lose out 6 points from pole position if you were to qualify in fourth where DK's in. So 6 points, and being in a much safer position is probably going to be better considering the race points is where it's going to be at, whereas 60 points up for a win for the sprint. Gallen still holds that pole. Qualifying is complete. There's 95 seconds remaining to complete the last laps. Gallen is not safe yet. We've seen many poles stolen at the conclusion of the qualifying, where that last lap is the golden lap. Can DK dig deep and do it? This is it. Does he improve his time? He does. He steals pole. 1:38.4. It's the same pace he had from the practice. He just left it for that last moment. It's going to be pretty hard to beat now. We have Wira, Mick, T-Rex, Dirty Monkey and Skitty still on track. Not sure if Weira's going to have Weira's not going to have enough time to wrap that up. Skitty's just finishing up a lap here. Will improve from 13th position. Still in 13th. T-Rex has concluded. Well, Mick Cliff's going to have just enough time to get across the line. They move from 6th. Probably going to take us straight to the results screen. Doesn't improve, still sits in 6th. And then we have qualifying complete for the opening round of race 1. DK Rush taking pole position on that last lap. That was phenomenal, setting a 1:38.4, and then just getting in front of Gallon 350 by 0.135. That is super quick. So we now have 4 drivers in the 1:38 mark, and then a few in the 1:39s. And it looks like there's again 7.6 seconds separating the full grid, so that is very tight indeed. It's going to be a spectacular race to watch for our sprint. They've got 10 laps to claim victory for the opening race. Let us know in the chat who you think is going to take the win. If you are trying to get an entry in to win that stubby cooler, don't forget to head to our Facebook page. So the link is down below. You will see the post that we put up for going live with round 1. If you share that and then put as the comment when you share the post who you think is going to be leading the championship at the conclusion of round 1. And then if you get that right, you'll go in the entry for the win of the Apex Esports League Stubby Cooler. Will DK keep this pace up and be able to fly out ahead and take the win, setting some pretty good points heading into session 2. So drivers have 2 minutes to adjust their car setups, any pit strategies. Once they've all hit that ready button, the game will sync up and get ready to count down to the start of the race. Otherwise, if they miss that, it is actually a disqualification and they'll be sent to the pits and they'll score no points for the race and miss out getting out onto track and have to wait for session 2. Our drivers are ready. About to have it go green for the opening round, and we're away. And it's a very quick start for DK, but Gallon is getting neck and neck up along through turn 1. I think DK is going to have a slight advantage. He's going to have to try and take that track position. A little bit slippery. He was off on a bad line coming down there as he was holding off Gallon. Gallon is already peeking around looking for a spot. Well, there's a little bit of a spin down that back end. I think that was, I'm sure who's all his contact there. The guy's just nudged into Kakadu, and again Simo Simpsons appears to be getting a bit of a whack as well. Bit of argy-bargy going on at that back end, and DK still holds off Gallon. Gallon's still trying to peek around and look for an opening. He's carrying a lot of speed. Pagnian Philly not too far behind. DK flies up through the chicane, carried a lot more speed up the hill compared to Gallon. Pagnian Philly battling out for 3rd position. So very out of focus shot. Philly goes fast. Look at DK pulling away from Gallon. Pagnian's trying to close that gap in on Gallon, but he does have Philly to contend with. sitting real tight behind Sami. You can see him trying to get that draft. Seeing about 10 kilometres difference from that draft. We're on board with Sami in the qualifying. We saw him get the 272 before hitting the brakes. We saw 285 get up to that speedo in Philly's car. Dirty Monkeys has received a slowdown penalty to be applied post-race. Struggling to keep that pace up with DK. The opening lap was at 145.9 being set by DK. Gallen's lap was 146.6. They are the two quickest times out there. Let's see just why they are both pulling away. Well, Sami's just received a slowdown penalty as well. Came in pretty hot. Phillies looks like he may have ran wide. It's run off again. He's dropped back down into 8th position. He's up, fighting around. There's a bit of contact. There's Lukai. And Weir too wide coming down into the chicanes. There wasn't a whole lot of room for him to be able to stay there. Rubbing as they get those elbows out in through the chicane. A fair few slowdowns on the board. If you aren't aware with the game, once you see the red come up on their position number for the standings board, that means they have received a time-second penalty for exceeding track limits. Or if they've been speeding in pits, but with how strict this track is for exceeding track limits, slowdown, so if they don't abide by the slowdown, they have a certain amount of time to abide by it, otherwise you'll be thrown a penalty. That's 1 second penalties that we're seeing currently. But the rest of the fields are on lap 3 of 10. We have T-Rex currently in 5th position. He has Balaki not too far behind him. Less than a second difference between the two, and they are both closing in on Midcliffe. He's doing very well out that front end. Came in pretty hot. Managed to pull that up just in time. Now still trying to chase down DK. Last lap was a 139.7 set by DK, and that's while leading out in front. Managing to get very similar times to what we were seeing in the practice and qualifying, or was out leading the race. You would expect Gallen to be getting a slightly better time with having that nice draft. It just shows how quick DK is at the moment. See these times change. There we are, Gallen comes through for 138.875. There's qualifying times now being shown in the race. DK is going to be in for a bit of trouble now. Gallen is hunting down DK. Saw him in those opening laps. He was peeking around. Ooh, looks like nearly a nudge. I think it may have been a little bit of a lag issue that may have actually done that. It looked like DK's car did reposition. Gallen's car. Definitely some latency showing. You did notice that with Gallen's car in practice and qualifying as well. That's something that drivers do have to contend with as well. This track position you can see there. Yeah, like Gallen's car did actually run quite wide, but then it just quickly side skipped back on track. Is all peer-to-peer, so it's meaning that each driver's is actually going to see each other slightly different to what another driver would be seeing that car's position. So when it comes to post-race stewarding. We're watching the replays. What I see is actually usually sometimes different to what was seen on the broadcast, and also to what the drivers may see. So if they're involved in an incident, each driver will potentially see each other as being at fault. Then when looking at it from a third party, looking at my replay, you will actually see something completely different between the two. That's why we do encourage our drivers to have multiplayer names shown, as it actually allows drivers to see what the latency difference is between them and the car that's in front of them. They'll actually have their ping up ahead, so that way you can gauge roughly how much space to give them when you are sitting real tight. We have a few lag incidents in our iRacing on a Monday night in that same reason. We do call lag issues with Project Cars. It's in the iRacing world, it's all netcode. I don't know if that's a general thing that they've just renamed the lag to. It may just be a little bit old school. We have Kakadu closing in on Blakai. All the drivers at the moment all copying, crashing from the race stewards. They have all just about received slowdown penalties. Probably going to almost see all drivers show up as a red number. Look at Gallen still trying to chase down DK. He's going to make DK work for it. He's got a beautiful slipstream here. Gallen was nearly half a second quicker in that last lap. DK manages to hold Gallen off the remainder of the lap. Gallen really chases him down in that last sector and has a great run through pit straight. He has all that speed, but it isn't enough just to get in front of DK enough to position and take the first turn. He's going to have to try and gauge DK, just how he's actually performing throughout the rest of the sectors. Try and find that weak spot. See if he can keep that pace up and then position himself in nicely, which he's trying to do so here, going for an outside move. He's going to have the inside line, squeezes in just in time. That was very close. That was a fantastic pass. That is something where I wish we had replay in Project Cars. That would be a fantastic one to watch. It was a very high speed pass, and it would have been potentially quite risky coming down ready for that uphill chicane. Had some fantastic pace. There are definitely some lag skips going on with Gallen's car. So Gallen now leads the race. It's lap 6 of 10. There's 4 to go. And Gallen can hold off DK until the checkers. We have T-Rex taken by Bolaki now. Bolaki's moved up into position 4. He's 3 seconds away from position 3. Barmy's laying down some 138s as well. He's set at 138.880. He's definitely lost a fair bit of ground. That last lap was at 148. But he must have made an error. It's cost him a good 8 seconds. That's allowed good opportunity for Bolaki to close that gap in. We have Philly making his way back up. He's now in position 6. Having gotten around Nickcliffe in the last couple of laps. See how the rest of our drivers are going. And Mark to close in on Kakadu. He's quickly closing in. Check out our debut, Bad Nate. Currently in 16th position. Hasn't taken any damage. By the looks of things, he has been in a pit. I didn't notice if it came up on the screen if he did pit or not. Those lap times between Gallon and DK are 1:39.117 and 1:39.361. That is very quick and very similarly paced to each other. And these two are leading by 13 seconds. Here, Balaki closing that gap ever so much more each lap. He's doing well to close in. It mightn't be enough to get Sami too much unless Sami makes another mistake. Definitely see Balaki having a shot for the podium. It would be wonderful to see Balaki up on the podium. Mick is looking to get back around Philly. Bearing down on Philly's tail pretty quickly. He could potentially find himself picking a good opening. While Philly is going to be fairly occupied in trying to get around T-Rex. Cliff just ran wide. That could have gone bad. He did drop a tyre off. Ooh, a little bit of a nudge. Through there with a lot more speed than what T-Rex was doing. Like it's still closing in. He's definitely going to be having a shot at Sami in the last couple of laps. Battle for 5th position is still continuing. Mick come flying up, taking advantage of a 2-car slipstream along the pit straight. And then Philly and T-Rex are battling this out fairly close. Let's be cautious not to make contact involved in the incident. So have to be wary of that as well in case they do turn around in front of him. Could involve him. Balaki is flying at the moment. Last lap was about 2 seconds slower than Sami, but this lap currently Sami is to be well off that pace. Now has Balaki less than a second between them. Gallon's now leading. Oh, Sami's made a mistake. I'm not sure if it was a tiny nudge from Balaki, or that was just Balaki getting around. But Balaki moves up into position 3. It's lap 9 of 10. This is a very good chance for him to get a spot on the podium. It'll be a first podium finish for Balaki in Apex eSports League. And he is only a young fella as well. We're seeing just how the young drivers do well. In our iRacing series, we had Sebastian take podium in position 2 on Monday night. And that was with the Chaz Mostert from V8 Supercars, who actually took the race victory. So to see one of our guys, really a young fella, get up there with some professional names is fantastic to see. Balaki does have a time penalty as well. He's got 5-second time penalty from slowdowns. He's going to have to push that lead out by 5 seconds over Sami, otherwise he will lose that spot. That's the last lap. He's only 4 seconds away from Sami, but Sami has got 1 second as well, so he only needs to hold 4 seconds away from him, and he will keep that spot. Here comes Gallant, happy for himself, flashing the lights, crosses the line, takes victory in the opening race, and does it with a very quick time still, a 1:39.3. DK takes position 2, well done. And here comes Balaki. He is currently... Ooh, Sami's really dropped back. Sami's moved back into 5th position, so it's a definite podium for Balaki. Well done, P3. There'll be a bit of variance here. They're all wearing time penalties, so it's all going to be mixed up. We have T-Rex take 4th, Sami take 5th, Mitcliffe in 6th position. Sami runs in 7th. Wira takes 8th, Dirty Monkey in 9th. We have 69 seconds remaining. Crosses the line in 10th position. Well done, and there's Kakadu coming up behind in 11th. And the Kaiwara in 12th position. Even it would be good for a victory burnout. It would be well deserved. He crosses in 13th, Mark in 14th. Will we get all drivers across the line? Demon Effects having some fun sliding that car across in 15th position. Well done, that was some fantastic driving, a very good indicator just how great this series is going to be with the skill set we're seeing from our drivers. So seeing world record times being set even in the race, let alone qualifying and practice. So Gallen takes victory in the opening race. And I think, oh, does he take the fastest lap? No, that goes to DK Rush with a 1:38.844, just a little bit ahead of the 1:38.875 set by Gallen. So we have DK Rush also on the podium in position 2, Balaki on the podium in position 3. And the rest of the field, we have T-Rex in 4th, Sami in 5th, followed by Mitcliffe, Philly, Wira, Dirty, Simo, Kaka, Lakai, Skitty, Mark, Damien Effects, and Bad Nate in 16th position. So we'll be having a short break and then heading into session 2. We've got 15 minutes of qualifying and then 21 laps with a mandatory pit. So it's going to be some pretty fierce racing over the course of those 21 laps. There's going to be lots of action to see. So do stay tuned. We'll be back momentarily with that, and then we will leave you with a video of our series sponsor, Pagnian Imports and Next Level Racing, with the prize that these drivers are all fiercely competing for. So do stay tuned, we'll be back shortly. and welcome back for session 2 of round 1 for the Pagnian Imports RS01 trophy. We did just see Gallon 350 take victory in the opening race, just ahead of DK Rush. So DK setting the pole time on the lap of qualifying, and then Gallon and DK having a fierce battle throughout to get that win. And Balaki coming up and taking his first podium position. So, and he's only, I think, just saying 13 years old, and he's beating all those older guys out there on the track. He's definitely got his eyes set on the prize that is being provided from Pagnian Imports and Next Level Racing, who are our series sponsor and partners to the league. It's a fantastic prize. The Next Level Racing wheel stand light. It's a pretty good addition to your sim setup. So you can see one of the drivers have been putting in a lot of practice, trying to get themselves onto those. Oh no, and Balaki's just received a grid place penalty. He's received one grid place. Forgot to set that pit limiter in the pits. So it is full manual pits. Drivers do have full control over the cars in pit lane, so that means they have to find their pit bay, drop it up correctly, not overshoot or pull up too short, and also ensure they have that pit limiter set. Otherwise they will get that grid place penalty, and if they speed too much in there, it can even be a disqualification. Good day, John, thanks for joining us. For those of you that are just joining us for the session, if you haven't done so, be sure to hit that follow button. Appreciate your support. We go Apex eSports League. We do go live with Project Cars 2 on Thursday night, 7:30 PM Australian Eastern Standard Time. And then we also have iRacing on Monday nights. That's with the Formula B, so there is plenty of good racing action to see. Don't want to miss out Monday night. It's going to be some fantastic action. Seeing some big names come and join the session. Some of our Australian supercars drivers joining in and racing with our guys. If you are on iRacing, be sure to join in. You may have an opportunity to jump on track and race with those drivers as well. Can catch any of our previous broadcasts on our social media links down below. There is our YouTube, which is the bit.ly/ApexESL. That will link you off to our YouTube channel. All past broadcasts get saved over to there, as we don't have a long period on Twitch that we can store our videos for. We do only get, I think, 14 days before they removed off. So let us know in the chat who you are cheering on for. Will Gallon take another win? Will DK get another pole time? We saw some very quick times being set, getting world record lap times being done. I think Lakai was unable to get session 2. We did have 16 cars in race 1. When you join us for the stream as well, there is a bunch of sound effects controls underneath. I'm not sure if it's in on mobile versions. Definitely know it is on PC version. Play a variety of sound effects over the stream, and it will be recorded on it. And we'll see what you play, so go for it. Have some fun. John's here cheering on for track days. He's here cheering on Bad Nate. Bad Nate having a good finish in race 1. He had some very good pace in the qualifying session. Not sure what ended up causing him to fall back. I think that's Malarkey that's just spun out. Turn 1. First time's coming through Dirty Monkey, set to 1:40.9. It's a pretty good opening time. Got a lot of cars going off track. It wasn't Philly, I think that may have been Wirra. Wirra and Malarkey, I do believe that was. Yeah, I think that was those. Don't forget, I am offering up the chance to win a Apex eSports League stubby holder. So it should be up on the screen now. So all you got to do is just head to our Facebook page, so the link down below, fb.com/Apex eSports League. You would have seen around 7:30 there will be a post saying that we are live with round 1. Just share that post, and then with your share in the post title who you are thinking will actually win, or not win, but be in the lead for the championship at the conclusion of round 1. But you do have to do that before we end up going into the race. You can share that as many times as you like, I suppose, if you want to get a few entries in or a few shots at it. So far, top contenders will be DK, Gallen, possibly Malarkey, as they got the good race points. So the drivers do score points for qualifying, as well as 25 points up for grabs. Even with DK coming second in the race, he did get the fastest lap bonus points. That's an extra 10 points going his way for the championship. And in the sprint race, he received 54 points for taking second place. Gallen received 60 for the win, but then the 10 bonus points actually set DK as having 64 points coming out of race 1, and also taking pole position, getting 25 points compared to Gallen taking second with 23. So he didn't actually take the win in race 1, however end up with more points than the victory just from the bonus lap points. He just scraped that in ahead of Gallen as well. They are members that do usually drive with us, getting in and giving some pretty good predictions of wins. That's where I did get the idea for us to see if we can actually reward you guys for those predictions. It's Jeffries, when he's usually on the stream watching, he's always nailing who is going to be getting pole and the win. It was uncanny how often he was correct. Not sure if you're on the stream watching Jeffries, but let us know what your predictions are if you are. Philly comes in with a 1:38.4. Philly had some issues and took damage in race 1. He was up battling towards the top end until he made that mistake and took some damage. Did recover pretty nicely, I think up into about 5th position from memory. Memory's already gone and we've only just gotten out of race 1. But Malarkey doing well, comes up into 5th for 140 near flat. Giddy's also received a grid place penalty. Both drivers needing to get a very strong qualifying position to weather out that grid place penalty. Gallons has brought that car in. He did just set the fastest lap, 1:38.3. That's 4 drivers in the 1:38 mark. That is very quick. Going to have a lot better track conditions for the second session. Had game session time starting at 1 PM for the qualifying. Conditions have now changed from light cloud cover to clear conditions. Track temps are going to be a nice warm, probably 24, 26 degrees I would be guessing. Lots of grip that they can lay down and really push those lap times out. For the race, game session time will start at 2 o'clock. Conditions will be clear through to medium cloud. Of course, we have the medium kit set for the feature race of each round. T-Rex has just had to park that car up. Looks like there was a bit of traffic going on around. I think Mick Clifford's ran wide as well. We did have Gallen hold the pole time for whole session of qualifying, just about in session 1. Doesn't improve that time. I think he did just come back out from the pits because he did park the car up, so he's probably running very light on fuel. He's probably coming out for a couple of golden laps and then bringing that car back in. There's only 3.5 minutes left to set that time. And we did have DK just hit back. He was struggling with 1:39s in the qualifying for session 1. Did see him set 1:38.4, I believe, in the practice, and then he did actually get that time and steal pole on the last lap of qualifying. You can see just how those improved track temperatures are helping these lap times. So 1:38.3, that's a very quick time. As I mentioned in session 1. Time trial world records were 1:39 in these cars. Gallen did actually head in there and take the record time away. We have had some record times being broken in our sessions before. I think it was in the 86s, the series where we had times being beat as well. We had a 0 set a record time qualifying and in the race as well. A little lag going on. We did see a fair few lag issues going on with Gallen's car in the first session. I think I did mention he was noticing the same lag skips when he was around Gallons. He was actually playing cautious just as to where his actual car position may be on the track. Well, that's not what I was trying to pick. I was trying to find Mark, but he did just actually bump up a couple of positions. Moved into position 8. We have Balarki's been bumped down to P7. He does have that grid place penalty. It's going to be pretty hard to try and improve your position on the board when getting lap times like this. 1:40 is a phenomenal time. Gallen goes flying around Balarki. Steam and Effects is tucking in behind these two as well. And that's Balarki that's just spun out. He's having a bit of bad luck. Hopefully that doesn't carry on into the race. Started off quite bad with taking the grid place penalty. stay focused and have a cracker. It's not really flat out as he approaches into the hill chicane. That's done his lap, so he might as well do a burnout. So there's only 30 seconds remaining. Tommy having a bit of bad luck towards the back end of the sprint race. Losing a lot of time. That allowed Larky to quickly close that gap in and get around. Sami be able to improve his time. He does. He moves DK down a spot. He takes position 3. There's 110 seconds remaining for qualifying. DK must have been having a very good lap. He wasn't going to do a last lap steal for pole position like we saw session 1. Where is bringing that car in? Well, the drivers are done. It's 8.4 seconds separating the field so far. In session 1 we had about 7 seconds. Bad Nate debuting with Apex eSports League tonight. He has raced with us. He did get in on some practice sessions with the guys and joined us for our casual races that we had during our 2-week break. We did just have a break from broadcasting, as I was trying to refresh a fair few of the graphics and line up our series as we run iRacing on Mondays and Project Cars on Thursdays, but they were never the same round, so now we're going to be having the same round number on the same week, so it'll make it a little bit easier for myself and for all our viewers as well. And there's Gallon having some fun destroying those cars' tyres. Only him and Bad Nate left out on track. I think Bad Nate's concluded his lap, so it's just 16 seconds left of qualifying. Oh, Gallon smokes up those tyres. We get to see some wood smoke with them. There's a fair bit of mud being thrown instead. There we go. Conclusion of qualifying for race 2. In round 1 of the Pagnian Imports RS01 Trophy. Gallon 350 takes the pole position with a 138.3. Not too far behind is Philly Manilli, setting at 138.421. And then Sami in with a 138.5. So there's some very quick times being set. Oh, sorry, and DK Rush as well in the 138s. 0.615. So our first 5 drivers are less than a second away, and then our first 8 is, oh sorry, 9 is only about 2 seconds. So there is not much between all these drivers. There's some fierce times and some very tight competition, so it's going to be exciting racing yet again. Drivers now got a couple of minutes to get ready. Have their pit strategies set and also their car setups. It is full custom setups allowed for this series. The drivers have full control over customizing their cars in each of the sessions. And there's been plenty of assistance between all the drivers in the practice lobbies. Sharing of setups. Don't forget, if you want to have a crack at getting in on an entry for that stubby cooler, you'll need to share that post before this race starts out. If you haven't done so, quickly shoot that through. So the drivers gear up, ready to start the race. If they don't hit that ready button in time, they will be DQ'd, so we don't want to see that happen. the 15 cars at the moment. Did see Lakai Warrior not able to make it into session 2. We had DK and Gallen get off to a cracker in race 1. This time DK is positioned behind the outside line, behind Philly. There we are, a very good start. You can see Balaki darting up in between several cars. He's just gained 2 positions. Gallen maintains that lead, gets well ahead of Philly nice and early. He's pulling away very quickly. A brilliant start for Gallen. Oh, Mick Cliff has just had a bit of an issue. I think that's Simo Simsler that's just binned it at the back end. No, that's Dirty Monkey. Not sure what happened, whether there was a hit that's just flicked him out. As I did mention in practice and qualifying for session 1, these cars can be very dangerous once they start to get into a little bit of a slip. Trying to counter that slip, the cars will start to get quite aggressive, especially after coming up over that curb through turn 1. And they will just aggressively flip the other way, turning the car straight off track and usually into that wall. I think that may have been what happened with Dirty Monkeys. It didn't look like there was any contact at all. Philly gets that car up on 2 wheels. It's a very tricky chicane. We did lose a lot of traction on that inside. A few little lag skips going on from Sami's car. I think he may have just slipped a little bit, but I'm not sure if that's from a little bit of lag. DK is probably playing cautious if he's noticing that from Sami. He doesn't want to get up alongside of him, as he could potentially end up in a contact situation without actually being full aware of it. Sami really trying to sit on the tail of Philly. Philly did pull away a fair bit. Race leader Gallen. Now lap 2. It's pushed out the lead to 0.7 of a second. Balaki just ran real wide down the back. He gets back on track just in front of Wira and Mark. He's had a cracker of a start. He doesn't want to have some bad luck now. He's having a lot of bad luck in qualifying. He's had to see not have a strong finish in the main race after having an excellent session 1. Philly having some issues at the chicane. He's also copped himself a slowdown penalty as well. He's exceeded track limits provided by the slowdown request. DK has gotten out around Sami. DK moves up into P3. He's now got his sights set on Philly. He wants a repeat of race 1 with him and Gallen battling it out. They'll keeping each other on their toes throughout the race. It wasn't only towards that back end that Gallen started to really pull away. DK's got a lot more pace than Philly at the moment. The last lap around a 140.7 by DK and 143.3 by Philly. Gallen sets a 140.1. That's allowed him to push that lead out by 1.8 seconds. DK's probably going to want to try and get around Philly as quick as he can, especially if he's having a little bit more pace than what Philly's got. It's 21 laps for this race. It's usually not real easy to see. It's usually blocked out by the sky on the stream. So above the currently watching section. It'll show what lap we're on and of how many. And there is a mandatory pit requirement as well. Having their pit strategies going to plan is going to be key to ensuring they keep their position. Have a shot at taking a win here. Oh, we've lost someone. Someone's had to retire out. I'm not sure who it is. I think it's Dirty Monkey. Did seem to take that heavy damage at the start, so he's probably got back around into the pits and found himself having quite a lengthy pit stop, so may have actually retired that car out. It's unfortunate start for the feature race. Retiring out and not actually leaving the session will at least still score points for drivers. Gallen having to correct that. Not sure what quite happened. Looks like he had to give it a bit of excessive brake. Got up in a very strange spot. I don't think it was braking to brakes going a little bit too quick in. Otherwise, that would have actually turned the car around. Flying out around Mark, absolutely flew. A very quick pass. DK still trying to close that gap in on Philly again. He did get nice and close to his tail before. He has dropped back a little bit on this lap. Last lap he was 1.6 seconds quicker. Philly. Let's see how it changes here as they cross the finish line. DK at 141 flat, Philly at 140.557. Slight mistake by DK. That's going to allow Sami to close in and put some pressure on DK. Okay, not having a good couple of laps. Performing to how he's liking at the moment. Could be due to much heavier fuel loads now as well. We're in 57.6 litres of fuel. Yeah, that Philly. So Philly's running slightly heavier. It's only a few litres. Even Gallen making a few little mistakes, so he's really lost that lead that he had over Philly. Philly did just drop back a little bit. He was closing in a little bit quicker. A bit slower towards that back end of sector 2. He's going to have a nice advantage for a slipstream. Cars are topping out at about 275 mark stand alone, but with the slipstream we're seeing about an extra 10 kilometres. The fuel loads is going to affect it just slightly, so we're seeing 276 from Philly, while having to drop the anchor down into this quick technical part of sector 1. Kakadu closing in on Bad Nate. Bad Nate having a better run in race 2. Kakadu positioned himself along the inside, but it's had to shave that off pretty quickly, otherwise he potentially would have actually dived across into the path of Bad Nate. And that would have been an at-fault incident, costing him some points. Been catastrophic to both their races. Take on T-Rex. They're both closing in on Volaki. Volaki a couple of seconds slower than T-Rex. And 3 seconds slower than Nick last time around. Close that gap in on Gallon. It's 0.4 quicker. We're coming up to back markers. I'm not sure who. I think that's Simo's car. He may have actually had to pit in. Leader's going to have to try and get around quickly and cleanly. Gallon doesn't want to have to be held up here. This could potentially cost him position. He's going to have to strategize just when to get around. That's not going to get him caught up in the traffic. Allow an opening for Philly to duck out around. Has dropped off a little bit. Simo stays off wide. Slows down that speed. Gallon gets around nice and quick, and that's probably well timed there. It's going to allow Gallon to put a little bit of space between him and Philly until Philly gets a good clean spot to get around. Simo pulled off track there to allow Philly and Sami through. Get around now as well. Is he going to use the slipstream to shoot out around? Oh, he's giving him a nudge. Not sure if Simo may have been braking on that line to try and allow DK. Hopefully that hasn't cost him any damage. There's no distinct visible damage to the car. Could be a little bit of aero damage to it. Just a tiny bit will be enough to actually significantly affect the front end handling of the car and lose a bit of speed on the straights. We're seeing a sea of red again from drivers receiving those slowdowns. Imola is a shocker for the track limits. He's got a little ways to catch up to the rest of the few at the front. He's 3 seconds away from Sami. Have Cliff putting down some pretty good pace. He's a second slower than T-Rex last lap, but this lap has really closed that gap in. Around the track, chasing that slipstream of T-Rex. .281 for hitting those brakes. That Simo gets around nice and safe. Simo goes off wide, blowing those cars through. Spin could have gone badly for him. Ooh, looks like there's been a mistake made by Gallon. He's ran off in the chicane. He quickly just lost those two positions. That's now allowed a lead change. Philly takes the lead, but has Sami closing in on him. And now starting lap 10. Approaching the halfway point. 10 of 21. Seems to be that most of the drivers are starting with the full load of fuel. Not sure if they'll probably go for tyres. It's probably likely. So right side tyres on Imola take a real thrashing. Out a full 21 laps. You can see track conditions are slightly changing. Weather conditions for the race was clear through to medium cloud. It is set to sync to race that it will be random. It could happen in the last few laps. It could happen in the first few laps with the weather change. Completely randomised. And then the game session time started at 2 PM and time progression is set to ×2. As 30 minutes of racing progresses, it will actually simulate an hour of time on the track. So the race will be around 3 PM. Track temperatures will start to drop off towards that back end. There's a little bit of grip, and then that tyre will last out just that little bit more. Philly is wearing a 5-second time penalty. It's going to be applied post-race. At this point, Gallon only 5 seconds away. I think Sami's got that time second penalty as well. Ooh, Philly a little bit slow. Sami carried a lot more speed. Sami gets around, going up the hill on that back straight. I have to continue through on the next section. Right out down here, brings up a bit wide. No, that is the lag skip that we saw. Like he did run off wide. As Gallon just coming up over the crest in the background there. He's brought that gap down from 5 seconds to 4 seconds at the moment. He is not giving up. He's going to get back up towards that front end. Probably not going to see any 138s being set just yet, like we did in the race for race 1. Those heavier fuel loads, we'll probably be seeing 140s, maybe squeeze a 139. Just trying to chase down T-Rex to get around. Past the halfway mark now. Just started lap 12. Spacing going on between our drivers. We'll make our way through. Simmers are currently in 14th position. Demon Effects in 13. We're currently in 12th position. Bad Nate debuting with Apex eSports League tonight in 11th position. Giddy currently in 10th position. Sami's made a mistake. It's dropped down into 4th position. That's allowed Gallon and DK to move up. He's taken any damage, so he's made an error. They ran wide. He's gotten that pace back on pretty quickly. Back on track pretty tight behind DK. Gallon focused on Philly ahead. Technically at this point he is actually in the lead with the 5-second penalty that Philly is wearing. Even over the course of the 9 remaining laps, he does not actually have to pass Philly. Yes, it is just keep within this distance. And he can take that win away by post-race time penalty. We have Nick heading in for his mandatory pit. Try and get back up around DK. Cover those positions lost from that mistake. He's definitely closing in ever so slightly for each sector. He's having just a little bit more pace than DK currently. Very different line. Going away a little bit quicker out of the chicane. Probably not using that full exit curve. A little bit of a mistake from DK. You can hear him feathering that throttle. There's a little bit of an understeer coming through the final corners. Getting a lovely amount of speed. It's following in behind DK. DK makes a mistake. He's ran off wide. They're now side by side. Sami then also slips. Almost just turned tail in front of DK. That could have gone bad for both of them. Sami moves back up into position 3. Race leader Philly Manilli on lap 14. They will need to pit. Philly does have that 5-second time penalty that's going to cost him dearly at this rate. As Gallon's closing that gap in. He's just over half a second quicker each lap around compared to Philly at this stage, which is why we saw that 5-second gap come down pretty quickly. Got 7 laps remaining. Drivers will need to serve their mandatory pit. How much fuel these guys are still running. To get through 37 litres. Gallon's running that's a little bit heavier than what Philly's running. Army lighter again. DK running about similar to Sami. Sami's running with traction control off. On the speeder that comes up with the squiggly here is their traction setting. They can change in the game between low, high or off. Usually most of these will be running either off or on low for the race. race start. Seeing it high is pretty good to get a nice launch without spooling up too much at the grid. Polaki now in and serving his pit. That's a pretty quick stop, so it looked like he got some tyres. Mick Cliff getting up alongside of Skiddy, I think. Coming down into turn 2. Oh, narrowly makes contact. That was pretty quick. Oh, Mick's just spun off and made a big hit. I think he's just lost that wing. His wing is bouncing all over the track. I'm seeing it actually rolling out in the grass, but I just looked over to the broadcast screen and it was actually remaining on the track. You will see Mick having some issues with that car. Once that wing is gone, there is no grip on that tail. The car is a real handful, which is why we're seeing him slip around there and then causing a little bit of contact. Not sure who that was that nudged him coming out of there. I think that was Pagnian. Fierce battle between Mick and Skiddy. Position, or Skiddy's just misjudged the chicanes. Comes out in front of Wira gets out alongside. Wira's going to have to try and get back over wide to take this next sectional very quick. Just gets back onto the racing line in time. Brilliant pass there. Wira moves up into 7th position. He's got about 19 seconds between him and Mark. Currently in 6th position. T-Rex is about 12 seconds away from DK. He's got about 15 seconds between him and Marky Mark. It's good for DK not to have any pressure from behind. Just focus on closing that gap between him and Sami. We can have a shot at going for podium. And Mick has already been in and pit. This is his 2nd pit stop. So he'll be getting those repairs. So they've now put that rear wing on. Lap 17:21. There's 4 to go. Billy is wearing that 5-second time penalty. Only 3 seconds away. The 5 seconds that's going to be applied to Philly. He's looking pretty good for a 2nd win the opening round. Doesn't have to play too aggressive here. Can just poke along at pretty much the same pace. So he doesn't have to try and push too much and close that gap in and risk making a mistake, costing him some time. I don't think he'll follow in. Oh, I think he almost contemplated going into the pits then. Did see that little swerve and then pull back in. He must have just opted not to in the end. He now takes that race lead. Can have a real cracker lap out here. Could probably be enough to be able to come back out from the pits and still be in the race lead. Oh no, Mick Cliff is disconnected after getting the car mixed up. had 2 casualties to the race. 2 cars having to drop out. Sorry, 1 retiring out. He hasn't actually left the session. That was a disconnect. Suffered for Mick Cliff. Gageville Mark heads in for his pit now. Only 3 laps remain. Down 350 is in the lead. 6 seconds ahead of Sami. He's coming up to some traffic at the moment. It's Bad Nate's car. Need to get around. I think that may have been some damage to the windscreen of his car. It is all smashed up, so he's taken a pretty big hit somewhere. Oh, he's actually pulled off track. We'll let him through. So I'm just going to block the line of traffic there. Sami will be coming up. Not sure if he did actually go off track to allow these guys through. He's just waving over to move through for them. Maybe battling with a bit of damage to the car as well. Oh, he's just ran off. Yes, he has. It's unfortunate for Bad Nate. He's going to have to head into the pits and potentially deal with some repairs. We'll make our way down through the wall. We have T-Rex currently in 3rd position. Billy Minnelli in 4th. He did just go and serve his mandatory pit. We do need to see Gallen, Sami and T-Rex head in and pit. Not sure if DK did go in. DK currently in 5th. Followed by Wira in 6th position. I think we got more cars with time penalties than not by the looks of things. Well, he's got that front bar flapping about. Gallen in the pits now. He's also followed. We have Mark in 8th position. Or Sami's, I think, may have just received another time second penalty. No, he hasn't, that's lucky. We have Kakadu currently in 9th position. Giddy 14 in 10th. Demon Effects in 11th. Simsel currently running 12th. We have Bad Nate. I think maybe struggling with a damaged car currently. Could be just residual visual damage, as the game won't actually repair those visual looks. They only just put bumpers and spoilers and whatnot back on. Cars will look still quite beaten up from the damage, so it may not actually be damage. Philly regains lead, run lap 20. Gallen and Sami serving their pit. I don't think DK went in. I think he still needs to pit. Gallen needs to do is just keep that pace between him and Philly. He does not need to pass. As he keeps that under 5 seconds, he will take the win. Not sure if I can see a little bit of flapping going on with the front of Gallen's car. I've just been a lag or a reflection I was seeing. Gallen has 4.8 seconds between him and Philly. he keeps that pace, that will be a win, providing he doesn't get any slowdowns himself. There were some position changes with the midfield in race 1 because of those post-race time penalties. DK's putting down some pretty fierce pace. Actually, Philly just set a 1:39.641 that last lap. The cars are getting down to fuel loads that what we were seeing them use in the qualifying. And that was the fastest lap for him for the race. However, the actual fastest lap in the race is Sami for 1:39.558. We have Gallen, Philly, and Sami all setting 1:39s for race pace. That's some pretty quick laps. Those 10 bonus points for fastest lap of the race can definitely make a big difference, as we saw for the points outcome for DK taking second position. And then getting the 10 bonus points for the fastest lap actually scores more points than the top of the podium for race 1. We're on the final lap now. DK must definitely have pit. Well, it is race complete. Definitely is. So Philly in P2. He bumps down because of that 5-second gap. Gallen takes position 1 away from Philly. DK comes up onto the podium still in position 3. Congratulations, DK. Sami crosses in position 4. T-Rex. Bring it up to cross the line in 5th position. Well done. We're coming up in 6th position. Congratulations to Weir and Balaki. Good result still. Position 7 is great. Mark coming up in 8th position. The last couple of corners now. There's Mark, crosses in 8th position, well done. Kakadu coming up, there's 35 seconds remaining. We will be inviting our podium finishers into the chat as well. You can hear how they went for their race. We'll talk to Gallen, Philly and DK. If you've got any questions for them, be sure to throw it into the chat and I can relay it to them. And we have a conclusion of race 2 for round 1 at Imola. We have Gallen 350 taking a second victory for round 1 with a great finish, and I think, did he just get the fastest lap? I think on the last lap he did. He's come in with a 1:39.474, so a brilliant result to finish up the round. Also on the podium we have Philly Manili in position 2 and DK Rush in position 3. The rest of the field we have Sami, T-Rex, Weir, Balaki, Marky Mark, Kakadu, Skitty, Demon Effects, Simo Simsel, Bad Nate, Dirty Monkey in 14th. So he did have to retire on lap 1, so we did see that quite aggressive snap out on the first sector where he took some heavy damage, so he probably had a fair bit of a wait to get that fixed up. So we will be bringing in our guys for a chat and let us know if you did share that thing to try and win your stubby cool, and if you did pick Gallen, because it's probably going to be the one that will be in the lead for the championship coming out of round 1. So if you did pick that, you will be in the running to get that stubby cooler. So we will invite them in. Just going to make sure I get the images of actually what they finished, otherwise they're not going to know what points to be given once we get all the results out in the coming days. Philly, DK and Gallon in here in just a moment. We'll wait as they get their invites to come through. We've got DK joining. Congratulations, DK, getting on the podium.
Yeah, thanks JT. Appreciate it, mate.
Result for a double podium.
Yeah, some great racing.
It was some great exchanges between a lot of you guys. And congrats, Philly and Gallon as well.
Thanks, mate. Thanks, JT.
No worries, it was very close. They're only losing that victory by way of that time-second penalty. He was only just in there. It was about 4.3 seconds, I think it was, wasn't it, in the end? So
yeah, I think it was.
Yeah, 4.3, because the gap changed to 0.7. So it was very close.
Track's really taut. It's really strict, that track. You only got to be out by just a millimetre.
Yeah, there's a lot of time-second penalties out on the board there. There was more red numbers popping up on the position board than there was blue ones. So
yeah, every lap I went around, I was looking for Gal's time-second penalty, but it just didn't come up.
Yeah, I was backing out of them every time it come up. I'm like, yeah, okay, I've got to go. Yeah. All right, sweet. Yeah. Okay, I'm still in there. Good. All right, quick pit stop.
Fantastic race.
Yeah, that was great. So it looks like, especially for the lap times you were setting, he's setting those record times even in that race pace. So it's great to see.
Yeah. Just have to do a shout out to Wira for all his help this week and all the Vasmac boys.
Yeah, big shout out to them, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Well done.
Yeah, shout out to everyone.
Get on the podium again next week.
Yeah, it was great, clean racing. Oh, it's awesome.
Yeah, I just want to congratulate my little nephew on that the sprint race, taking his first third position, driving well for a little 12-year-old.
There he is. That's how I was trying to mention here how old he was. So he's 12 years old and getting on the podium amongst you guys. So doing very well.
Huge congrats to you too, Gallon, for your double win, even though Philly did.
Yeah, good on you, Gal.
Crossed the line first in that last race.
Next time, slow down a bit, mate.
I did slow down. I slowed down so I didn't get the slowdown penalties. Smart move. Well done, guys.
Great driving, guys.
DK, good race in the first one as well, mate.
Yeah, cheers, mate. That was good.
That was good. You made that car really wide.
Too, DK.
Yeah, I'll take a second and a third for sure.
It's going to be pretty exciting seeing you at Zolder next week.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Fun track.
Already had a bit of a run around there, so we kind of know what to expect.
I just want to also thank the sponsors, Pagnian Imports, for their support, and Next Level Racing. It's an awesome prize that you guys have put up. We're all happy about that, and we can't appreciate you guys more than anything else. Thank you.
Yeah, a big thank you.
Yes, we're very pleased to have JT. Support for these guys to help our little community out and help us grow and get some great prizes for you guys.
Thanks, JT.
Thanks, JT, once again for all your
work. Go Team Vasmac.
Well done, Vasmac. Boys. Well done, guys. Have a good night, Cheers. Thanks for racing. Bye-bye.
And there we have Gallon, DK and Philly, our podium finishers for race 2 in round 1. And next week for round 2. So we're back again Thursday night, 7:30 PM Australian Eastern Standard Time, and we head to Belgium for Zolder. And it's going to be another good, fast, technical track. So it's super quick and very similar to Imola in the way with a lot of tight passes. So it's going to be spectacular racing to see, and I'm sure these guys are going to be putting in a lot of practice again to be able to have their eyes set on taking claim for that Next Level Racing wheel stand light, courtesy of our series sponsors and league partners, which is Pagnian Advanced Simulation, which is pagnianimports.com.au, and Next Level Racing. So you can find them also nextlevelracing.com. You can get all your Next Level Racing products through Pagnian Imports, so be sure to check them out. We do have a link to a bunch of great cockpit packages from Pagnian Imports, so whether you're racing on console or PC, be sure to check it out. You can head to our Facebook page and you'll see the links to some great bundles in there. Otherwise, head out and check out their websites. That's pagniumimports.com.au. So thank you very much to our sponsors, and thank you to all those that are supporting Apex Esports League and our viewers for tuning in and cheering on our drivers. So be sure to hit that follow button if you haven't done so. Thanks for tuning in, and hope to see you trackside next week.